Guys, Sony have done it again. They've just launched a brand new Sony Cinema Line camera. And I've been shooting with it for about a week now, and I've put about 100 hours on it already. And this time, it's the Sony FX5. We were told by Sony to produce some amazing content with the camera, really put it through its paces. And we've done things where we've shot drifting at low light, trains in the desert, we've shot yoga and Petra, we shot wildlife. So I really tried to cover as much as I can in terms of features in this camera, so hopefully it's useful for you today. So let's go over the camera from an exterior perspective. So to the untrained eye, it looks very much like some of the smaller Cine Line cameras in the Cine Line. Now, you'll notice it's slightly thicker than something like the 2, the 3, or the 30. And that's because they've got this little latch, which you can see here. If I pull it open, now reveals contact point for something. This little cap here is designed now for this viewfinder that Sony have made for the FX5, which means that you now have a detachable EVF. And I've been using this a little bit in the harsh sun, and it looks great. So you can use this as well as the monitor on the back of the camera. In terms of the button layout, on top, we've got our regular shutter shoot button. We've got our iris, white balance, and ISO. We've got our joystick button, and we've got our record. One thing we have got is a slightly improved dial. So you'll see here, there is a nice new dial, thumb dial on the back of the camera, which I've been using, and it feels really, really nice to touch. It's very nicely positioned when you're scrolling up and down the menu. And we've lost our regular thumb dial on the back here. Now you're probably thinking, why have they done that? Well, as you can probably see, we've now got a fantastic new large 4-axis screen. Really high resolution, really nice, really sturdy. And I've been using this all week in the harsh sun, hanging out of cars, trying to capture things in obscure angles. And I'll be honest, this really, I think, is one of the nicest upgrades to a compact Cine Line camera that exists currently in the fleet. This is a really nice addition. Now, in terms of the rest of the features, we have your assignable button 5, we have a home button, we have a user menu button, which is actually quite cool. This acts as like your quick function. You've got your back, you've got your menu, we have false color. I can't tell you how much I've been using. I'm not a guy that uses false color very much because I don't use external monitors, and I'm not usually a fan of false color because obviously depending on the monitor, the false color will give you different readings, and it's obviously taken what the camera sees from the HDMI. But having false color in a camera, and I've used it on the Venice 2, obviously I've used it in other brands as well, and other cameras where they have it. The fact that now Sony have got false color in a small camera like this is a massive deal. I'm shooting all the time into the sun, into bright lights, and just being able to quickly flick this on and know if my image is overexposed is really good. You've got your on and off switch, you've got your clips, and that's it from the button perspective. Obviously you have your record on the front still, so everything's pretty much the same there. Now, in terms of the media, we run the CF Express Type A slots, which also take the SD cards if you flip them around. So this is the same as the FX3 and the FX6. On the side here, in terms of the ports, we have a full-size HDMI, we have a LAN Ethernet, and we have 2 USB-C ports with our headphone and microphone jack on the side. So for the base, we have 2 tripod screw threads, really handy when fixing it to a tripod so it doesn't move around. And we have now the improved new generation battery by Sony, and it comes with a nice charger, which is now USB-C powered, and these batteries last a very long time. It's the first time you're using these new generation batteries, and I think Sony recommends that you can get almost, I think, over 150 minutes with this. So before we go into the features of the camera, I want to quickly talk about the sensor. So this is now a 5K full frame Exmor RS CMOS sensor, fully stacked. It has a 17:9 mode, 16:9 mode, Super 35 mode, and now a 3:2 open gate mode. It also has 15+ stops of dynamic range. I've been using this in some incredible places where the dynamic range would be very, very useful, and it's held up really, really well. Now, one thing you're probably also wondering is what is the readout speed of the sensor? This basically means it sort of tells you how much rolling shutter this camera has, but I have been told it's 1.5 times faster than the FX3. And the FX3 has very little rolling shutter. So the fact that it's quicker than that, I think most people are gonna have no problem with any rolling shutter on this camera. Now, when I turned this on, one of the things that got me most excited was the fact that this X-OCN internal. Now, X-OCN, in case you guys don't know, is basically Sony's equivalent RAW. RAW, in my opinion, is 16-bit. If it's not 16-bit, it's not RAW. This does 16-bit X-OCN. Now, it's not the same sort of level of quality from the X-OCN that you would get in something like the Sony Venice, but obviously it's the same shared codec, and it records to the CF Express Type A cards. It also does X-OCN C1 and C2. Not too familiar with what those are. I believe they're probably variants to X-OCN. And you have your standard XAVC HS, XAVC I. You have 422 and 420 sort of equivalent sort of settings that you can select. Now, one thing you may notice already is that we have effectively like 4 ways to access settings. So we've got our user menu, which works as our quick function. You can completely customize that. Then you have your big 6 home menu, which I use quite a lot. And then when we go to our regular menu, we have a quick menu, which is very similar to the Venice, which is really nice. So I can go to my project, my TC media, my monitoring, audio info, and project details, depending on whatever one I'm on. So I can expand it to the big menu, or I can just hold the big menu button down. And then you get your regular full menu, which most of us are familiar with. So I'm an FX6 and a BURANO user. So the fact that this camera is now adopting that sort of menu system, it makes me very, very happy. So obviously I've been using this camera in lots of different frame rates and resolutions. Now, what I can say is from a project's perspective, the 3x2 5K does up to 60 FPS and 50 FPS. I've been using that in SNQ mode quite a lot. That is 5K full frame, uncropped in X-OCN, which is really cool. But if you want a bit more speed, you'd obviously have to drop down to something like the 5K 16:9. So now you can see that we're in the 16:9. If I choose not to go into X-OCN and I go down to XAVC I, you can see I've got loads of different options here. I've got XAVC SL420, or we got 422, or we got XAVC S-I. If I click S-I, for example, the camera will reboot. And then when we go back into our menu, we'll go to our SNQ mode. And we can see that you can go all the way up to 120. So there's another current image mode, 3x2K, 16:9, 2x35. I can go all the way up to 240 frames SNQ with it. So another feature that's really cool about this camera is we're now working with a 3 base ISO, and we also have now a dual gain ISO mode in this camera. So it has 800, 4000, and 12,800. That basically means that you're probably never going to really need to go into flexible ISO mode. So like you expect with any new Cineline camera, it's got a lot of the face, animal, bird, like autofocus recognition systems in place. It's got the AI supported focus support in here. It's got the 5-axis image stabilization, which is really, really cool. I've been using this with stabilization on and off. I've been hanging this thing out of cars, filming some crazy stuff. And even though I've been on wide lenses and it does look quite erratic, I mean, it's designed to be, that's what I wanted the shot to be. The stabilization's done exactly what I needed to. So this has anamorphic D-squeeze as well. Go into our quick menu. We've got obviously off, which is when we're not using anamorphic lenses. We've got a 1.3, 1.5, 1.6, 1.8, and 2x. So everything already coming standard with the camera if you like using anamorphic lenses. And the fact that this will be also used on a much higher resolution sensor X-OCN in a camera this size, pretty game changing, to be honest, for the Sony lineup. Really, really cool. So if you guys enjoyed watching this video, I'd love it if you could like and subscribe. I'm trying to grow my channel in a minute, so your support would be incredible. And make sure you head over to my Instagram as well and my TikTok, where I've got my links on the screen below or in the description below. And it would be great to stay connected. If you guys have any questions about this camera, feel free to send me a DM. I'm usually quite good at getting back to everyone who does message me. So if you guys have any questions at all, do let me know. I'd be more than happy to help.